Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare an ancient Greek beef stew that dates back to the 3rd century. We start with the ingredients. We need beef short ribs, bread, vinegar, wine, grape juice, honey, aromatic herbs, fennel, thyme, cilantro and dill, and spices, cumin and black pepper. We mix the herbs and grind the spices. The recipe we're preparing today comes from a fragmentary collection of Greek recipes found in a papyrus in Egypt, now housed in the Institute of Papyrology at the University of Heidelberg. The recto of the papyrus from which our recipe comes dates back to the 3rd century, whereas the verso dates to the 4th or the 5th century. The text has been called Observatione, which means cookbook or a book on the culinary art, a title given to many other similar books that have unfortunately been lost, mentioned by Athenaeus in the Deipnosophists. Despite the papyrus being fragmentary, the part that contains today's recipe is readable. The original recipe calls for fresh or cured meat, including perna, meaning ham. If you use salted meat, the author recommends parboiling it in water. The meat suggested is krea, a Greek term referring to the meat of quadrupeds, so you can choose whatever you like. The passages of the preparation are clear and described in detail. One liquid that is used is glucose, which can mean either sweet wine or grape juice, both used in the antiquity for culinary purposes. As for the bread, we used an ancient Greek bread called strepticios artos, which we presented in the past. You'll find the links to the video in the description below. We stew the short ribs with wine, grape juice, vinegar, 2 pinches of salt and the aromatic herbs. The proportions indicated in the text are 4 parts wine, 2 parts grape juice and 1 part vinegar. After about an hour, when the ribs are halfway cooked, we add a little honey and the spices. Don't use too much honey to prevent the broth from becoming overly sweet. The cooking time depends on your personal preference, but it will probably take a couple of hours or more. This recipe is interesting because it's similar to some described in De Coquinaria, in Vinidarius Excerpta, which was probably written in the 5th or the 6th century, and also the 6th century book De Observatione Ciborum, by the Byzantine physician Antimus. The later recipes are related to the same culinary tradition as the Observatione. Antimus describes several recipes for Euscella, which are essentially the same kind of preparation as this Greek stew, made according to similar principles. Soups or stews with bread appear not only in Greek recipes such as kandaulos, which is a meat and cheese dish thickened with bread, but also in De Coquinaria. In the past we prepared a stew with mutton and bread, in a version suitable for the legionaries, as well as kandaulos. The links to the recipes are in the description below. To learn more about meat in history, check out our book Early Italian Recipes, Meat, Meatballs and Sausages, which includes plenty of recipes between the antiquity and the end of the Renaissance. accompanied by a wide introduction about the use of meat across the social classes, the preparations, the sources in the culinary and dietary context, animal farming and preservation techniques. Bread is covered in the second volume of the series Early Italian Recipes, dedicated to cereals, bread, pasta and pies. To learn more about ancient and early medieval food, read Ancient Roman Cooking and our translation of Antimus' book, titled The Observatione Ciborum, Early Medieval Recipes at the Court of the Franks. Other translations of sources, such as the early medieval Excerpta by Vinidarius, are available on our Patreon page, along with several articles on historical food. To support our work, you can also buy us a beer and purchase our merchandise. All the links are in the description below, along with a list of our books on historical food. We serve the short ribs with the sauce they were cooked in and the bread. This stew was amazing, fragrant with spices and Mediterranean herbs, and rich from the presence of wine, grape juice and honey. Adding a bread like Strepticius artos made the stew even more aromatic and delicious. Although the author doesn't mention it, using garum or muriel instead of salt would make the stew even tastier. It's surely a dish worth trying, with the option of changing the meat, or preparing it with salted meat, to experience a type of dish that seems to have been popular between the late antiquity and the early Middle Ages. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, subscribe our channel and consider supporting us on Patreon.